Ask her how to turn the camera on. Okay. I will now call this meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the January 27th, 2022 City of Hollister Planning Commission meeting. Usually we have verification of agenda posting on the agenda.
We can, if you like, Commissioner Huey, but
okay, that's I'm sorry, that's later down. That's Commissioner Stevens. Would you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
certainly. Chairperson David Huey,
Here.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens,
Here.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Here.
and Commissioner Luke Corona.
Here.
Thank you.
The first thing on the agenda is nomination for chair and vice chair. I have a nomination. I'd like to nominate Roxanne Stevens, Commissioner Stevens, for chairperson.
I'll second.
Roxanne, do you accept?
Sure, I will accept.
All right. We'll take a vote on this.
Yes, please. Commissioner David Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Roxanne Stevens.
Yes,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Entertain a motion or a nomination for vice chair. I'll nominate Kevin Henderson for vice chair. Kevin, do you accept?
I accept.
We'll have a vote.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear a second. I may have missed it.
We'll have a second for nominating Kevin Henderson for vice chair.
I will second it.
Thank you. Commissioner David Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens,
Yes,
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
and Commissioner Kevin Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Kevin. That's since I'm the only one here, normally we change places.
Normally we would change places. That's correct.
Oh, boy. No,
You can stay there. It's okay.
we'll carry on. I guess I'll stay here in the chair seat for now. For tonight anyhow. Now we'll have the verification of agenda posting.
Chairperson Huey, even though you'll stay in the chair seat, would Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens at this point continue? Is that just checking? Would that be correct, City Attorney Epperson?
That's correct, yes.
Roxanne, will you carry on from here, please?
okay, sure. So the next item on the agenda is confirmation of meeting calendar. Is there anything that we need to do with this other than to acknowledge the meeting calendar?
So we would, sorry, Abraham, we would just ask that you read the dates so that we can record them in the minutes and that it's made available to the public.
Okay. Okay, so the regularly scheduled planning commission meetings are proposed for the fourth Thursday of each month with the exception of November and December. which are proposed for the third Thursday of the month, please confirm and record. So we have Thursday, February 24th, 2022, Thursday, March 24th, 2022, Thursday, April 28th, 2022, Thursday, May 26th, 2022, Thursday, June 23rd, 2022, July recess, Thursday, August 25th, 2022, Thursday, September 22nd, 2022, Thursday, October 27th, 2022, Thursday, November 7th, excuse me, 2022, and Thursday, December 15th, 2022.
Madam Chair, on the November 7th, it should be November 17th. I think we heard November 7th. Just
Sorry.
for the record.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So let me say that again. I thought I said Thursday, November 17th, 2022. And then finally Thursday, December 15th, 2022.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that item?
No, thank you so much.
Okay, so then we can move on with verification of the agenda posting.
Thank you, Madam Chair Stevens. The agenda for the January 27th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting was posted to the bulletin board at City Hall on Friday, January 21st, 2022 at 2:42 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes that we need to approve. The first is way back. Okay, so it says here October 28, 2022, but it should be 2021. So October 28, 2021, so there's an error on the agenda. So does anybody want to make any comments about the minutes from that meeting or make a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If
Aye.
it's okay, I'll do a roll call vote now, Madam Chair.
Okay, so are we gonna just do roll call votes on every vote tonight, I'm assuming?
That's correct. Unfortunately, that any time that it's done via Zoom or remotely, every single vote, even the minor ones, need to be done by roll call.
Okay. Okay, so a roll call vote, please.
Certainly, thank you. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona. Commissioner Luke Corona, you're on mute.
Yes.
Thank you. And Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, so we'll move on to minutes for the special meeting on January 13, 2022. Any comments on that meeting, or do we want to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote.
Certainly. Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the public comment section. So this is time for anyone in the audience to speak on an item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the secretary, the Development Services Director, before speaking. When the secretary calls your name and address for the record, speak to the Planning Commission. If you are joining via Zoom, please click on the bottom of your screen and raise your hand. If you're joining, raise your hand, *6 to mute and unmute. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note that state law prohibits the Planning Commission from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards or anyone on Zoom that would like to make a comment at this time?
I do, Madam Chair. We have
Okay.
Jeffrey Small, and I'm going to go ahead and allow you to unmute. Jeffrey?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you so much, Chair Huboy and Planning Commissioners and Mr. Prado. My name is Jeffrey Small of Capital PFG. I'm the financial advisor and act as in a fiduciary capacity to the San Benito High School District. Superintendent Tannenbaum is unavailable tonight. He asked me to deliver public comment on his behalf. The district is requesting that the Planning Commission direct all developers to meet with the district about identifying funding for a second high school prior to considering land use actions such as specific plans, rezones, and subdivisions. The district's objective is to illuminate the problem that our community is facing, namely, the high school is operating at capacity and any additional students from new development will diminish the educational program for our community. The district acknowledges that there is a housing crisis. However, in the last 4 years, the district has received approximately 2,000 building permits. Additional residential entitlement projects are expected to yield 3,000 or more housing units. Furthermore, actions taken by the state of California will place additional burdens on the district as the regional housing needs assessment is requiring the city, county, and San Juan Bautista to allocate over 5,000 housing units during the next 8 years. No new money is being allocated to school districts to expand public facilities that are needed for a growing population. There is widespread agreement that developer fees paid to the district to offset the cost of new development are woefully insufficient to construct a new high school. In today's dollars, new development will generate approximately $14 million in fees, well short of the more than $125 million needed to construct a new high school. The district is appreciative of the broad support it is receiving from the General Plan Advisory Commission, Planning Commission, City Council, and many other community leaders. The growing population requires adequate public infrastructure, including schools with sufficient capacity and strong educational programs. We look forward to working with the Commission, planning staff, and the development community to help ensure that we can serve the needs of existing and future students. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Small. Are there any other speaker cards or any other speakers on Zoom?
I see no other hands raised, Chairperson.
Okay, so we're going to move on. Do we have to do anything formal at this time to move on to the next agenda item, or do we just move on to the next agenda item?
We can just move on so long as there's no one else trying to make a public comment.
Okay, so let's get started with agenda item number 1, minor subdivision 2021-1. TES Investment LC J. Adams. The applicant is requesting to subdivide a 0.83 acre lot located on the low density residential zoning district into 4 lots for future single family development. There is an existing home located on the property which will remain and will be located on one of the 4 newly created lots. The property is located at 1871 Buena Vista Road, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel number 052-320-003. CEQA categorically exempt. Okay, so can we get a staff report?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, was I echoing there? Thank you. Yes, the first item tonight is minor subdivision 2021-1. And as stated, the applicant is requesting to subdivide an approximately 0.83 acre lot into 4 lots for future single family development. The property is located at 1871 Buena Vista Road in the low density residential performance overlay zoning district. There is an existing single family home, which you'll see on your screen here, which will remain on parcel 1 of the newly created lots. The parcel currently has access off of Buena Vista Road to the existing single-family home, the access to the north. As part of the project approval, the access to this property will be moved to Charlie Drive here to the southwest. And the frontage along Buena Vista will be improved to be consistent with the existing sidewalk and sound wall along the neighboring properties on Buena Vista Road. All 4 of the new properties will have access off of Charlie Drive. The size of the lots are as follows. Parcel 1 is 13,658 square feet. Parcel 2, 6,253 square feet. Parcel 3, 5,656 square feet. And finally, the southernmost parcel, parcel 4, will be 5,559 square feet. In addition to the existing single-family home on parcel 1, that's going to remain, there is an existing accessory building, which will also remain on parcel 2. The R1 LPZ zoning district allows for development at densities of between 1 and 8 dwelling units per acre. And the ultimate development of 4 single-family detached homes on this proposed subdivision will result in the development being at approximately 4.8 units per acre, which is consistent with the permitted density. The lots are also consistent with the existing single-family development that surrounds the property. The property development will be subject to standard R1 development regulations. There was no request for variation in the development standards. So the setbacks will be 18 feet to the residence in the front yard, 20 feet to the garage in the front yard, a 15-foot rear setback, a 6-foot side yard setback, as well as a 50% maximum lot coverage standard. The current 2005 to 2023 general plan designates this project site as a low density residential, which again allows between 1 and 8 dwelling units per acre. The existing parcel with the single detached unit is developed at about 1.2 units per acre on the low end, whereas the division and future development of 4 total single family units will bring the development again to that 4.8 dwelling units per acre. It's consistent with the city's general plan designation, as well as the city and state's goals to increase housing density within the city. With that, staff recommends that the City of Hollister Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following motion to adopt resolution 2022, and this will be -4, approving minor subdivision 2021-1, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ava. Any questions or comments for staff from the commissioners?
Just a question on the parcel 2. Is that a detached garage? You say an accessory building?
I believe it is a detached garage. I don't know if the plan is to expand on it to turn it into a single family home, to build the home around it and make it more of an ADU, but they do propose to keep it. I think it's either a garage or like a barn building, storage building.
Get creative with that. Thank you.
Does the applicant reside in parcel 1?
I actually don't know the answer to that question. I believe they are online. They may speak during the public comment period, but I do not know if they reside in parcel 1.
Commissioner Corona, do you have any questions or comments for staff?
No questions at this time.
Thank you. So can I just ask a clarifying question? Can you just tell me with these subdivisions, what would be the maximum number of units that could be built?
So the maximum development is going to be between 1 to 8. So if you give me just a minute, I can do a quick calculation.
Okay.
I would probably guess that it's about 7 on a 0.83 acre lot.
Okay. Okay, so if there's no other questions or comments from the commissioners, we can move on to public comment. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions or comments, so we can move to public comment.
And just right before we open it, it would be 7. as the maximum.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I did see a hand at one point, but it looks like it is down.
If you're on Zoom
Oh.
and you want to make a comment, please raise your hand.
I will just state for the record, the applicant stated in the chat, no, they do not reside at,
It's right there.
but otherwise we have no comment.
And no one in the room that filled out a comment form.
No, we are empty in the chamber.
Okay. Okay, so what is the pleasure of the commission? Do you want to move forward on a motion? Do you want to have further discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like
Yes.
to, unless there's any other comments from my fellow commissioners, I'd like to make a motion to adopt PC Resolution 2022-4 and approve minor subdivision 2021-1 with the draft findings in the resolution.
And I'm sorry, everyone. I realize that my Zoom connection may not be the best, but I wasn't certain whether or not the time was stated for the opening of the public hearing and the time was stated for the closing of the public hearing. If we could just do that. If it's already been done and I missed it due to the Zoom connection, I apologize.
I do not think that I said the time, so I apologize for that. Ava or someone else, did you?
Yes, for both the opening and the closing of the public comment, it was for 6:28 p.m.
Okay, I think that was Amber. Thank you, Amber. Okay, so we have a motion to adopt the resolution. Can I get a second from another commissioner?
A
I will
second.
second it.
Oh,
Sorry.
no problem. Luke can have
Okay.
it.
Okay, so we have a second from Commissioner Corona. Can we do a roll call vote now?
Certainly.
Thank you.
For approval of minor subdivision 2021-1, PC resolution 2022-4. We have a motion and a second, and roll call vote now will begin. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Congratulations to the applicant. And good luck with your project. So we can move on to our second item, which is site and architectural review 221-9 master sign program.
Madam Chair.
Mhm.
Because I have a family member that works in the facility in question, and in order to avoid any actual or perceived conflict, I would like to recuse myself from this agenda item.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. So let me just ask a question from staff. So does Commissioner Henderson just get off camera? Does he just mute and can listen in? What does he need to do to recuse himself?
He should be off camera and not even listen in. And the difficulty there is going to be because we're not all in the same room. No one can go get him when it's time for him to come back on. Perhaps Commissioner Henderson, if you could provide, does anyone have Commissioner Henderson's cell phone number, and perhaps you could text him when it's time for him to come back on?
Yes, this is Abraham. I can certainly do that if that's okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, thanks for those instructions. Okay, so we will see you back as soon as we're done, Commissioner Henderson. Look for that text.
Okay, see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll just continue. Steve, Beach Champ dash Panatoni, sorry for that, Development Company. The applicant is requesting approval of a master sign program for the installation of a freestanding monument sign and 2 freestanding directional signs. The project is located within the M1 Light Industrial Zoning District located at 1551 Citation Way, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 053-360-037, and then 053-360-038, 053-360-039, and finally 053-360-040. CEQA categorically exempt. Can we get a staff report?
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
The applicant is requesting approval of a master sign program for an existing industrial site located in the light industrial zoning district at 1551 Citation Way. Section 1720.040 HE permits the Planning Commission to allow for exceptions to sign regulations as a part of a master sign program. The City of Hollister Sign Ordinance, Chapter 17.20 permits up to 2 monument signs not exceeding 32 square feet each in the industrial zoning district. The applicant is requesting approval of 3 freestanding monument signs as a part of their master sign program. The applicant is proposing a non-illuminated freestanding monument sign north of the second driveway closest to the northwest corner of the building. The sign is proposed at 8 feet in height with a 1-foot base. The monument sign will contain 74 square feet of signage on either side. In addition to the freestanding monument sign, the applicant proposes 2 additional large-scale freestanding directional signs on the project site. The first will be located north of the northern driveway of Citation Way closest to Flynn Road. The second will be located at the southern driveway at the south end of Citation Way's cul-de-sac. Each of the directional signs will be a total of 7 feet in height and 30 square feet of signage on either sign. The master sign program will also include all existing wall signs for the building, which are consistent with the City of Hollister's sign ordinance. The applicant requests the following modifications to the sign ordinance as a part of their master sign program. 1, an allowance for 3 freestanding signs rather than 2. 2, an allowance to exceed the maximum square footage of signage for an industrial site, 50 square feet for 1 freestanding sign, 32 square feet for each of the 2 freestanding signs, and install a 74 square foot double-sided sign and 2 30 square foot double-sided signs on the site. The applicant has provided a statement regarding the request, which indicates that the intent of the signage is to aid the flow of traffic for the building and the site, and that the visibility of the larger signage is crucial for the safety of their on-site personnel and patrons. The signage is not intended to attract clientele or projects to outside entities. And with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following motion. Adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2021-9 for a master sign program subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff? And I also believe there are the project applicants online as well, if you have any questions for them.
I do have a question regarding the illumination of the sign or non-illumination, as you mentioned in the staff report. Is there any design to have lighting that would, like uplighting that would show visibility during the dark hours?
I would defer that question to the applicant. When what we received, there wasn't any lighting that was
No lighting
displayed
design?
to us.
So my question to staff is, given the request for an additional sign, are there any concerns with having that extra sign? And is there any concerns that we should be aware of other than, the stated one in the report around, extra advertising or calling attention to their company, is there any other concerns that we should consider before voting?
Not at this time. This was presented to our DRC, and one of the things we take into consideration when looking at freestanding or monument signs is the clearance around it and making sure when individuals are driving past, for example, that there is visibility. This is looked at by our engineering department, and at this time, there was nothing found for these signs.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Corona, any questions or comments?
I would just wanted to ask staff if this is actually the standard height for the permanent monument type signage.
32 feet, right?
So the typical monument signs we do see is at 8 feet tall, and then they usually have that 1 foot base. So it is pretty standard for what we've seen from this style of low monument, which is what the code prefers, is the low monument style. The directional signs are a little bit different, so they're kind of an exception as well in the ask, in that they are more of a pole sign, but the reasoning for asking for these large directional signs as opposed to what you see in kind of a typical parking lot or something, which is what the directional signage is, turn left here. They're asking for these large signs because they're dealing with large trucks, and they have a fairly large site, and the signs are pretty spread out throughout at their 3 driveways. And so these signs are going to be visible to the people who need to use them to be directed throughout the site.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, so I'm not seeing any indication, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to public comment, and we'll open public comment at 6:40.
Just question for the applicant.
First, before the question
Okay.
of the applicant, David Huboy, we have a comment in the chat from the applicant, and I will request that the applicants raise their hand and speak during the public comment. It's going to be easier, I think, to track. But from Todd Chandler, uplighting is planned for monument signs MS1 only. So
Okay, so there is some lighting that is in the works for visibility during the dark times. What is the operating hours for this facility?
So let me just clarify. So I've opened public comments. I wonder if we could save your questions, Commissioner Huboy, until after public comment. I just want to check to make sure, because I already opened public comment at 6:40. Do we have any comments from our public?
I have no other comments or hands raised.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close public comment at 6:41, and then, sorry about that, to further discussion from the commissioners.
Well, my understanding then is that the purpose of the sign is for the employees and those personnel that work at the facility, and not necessarily for the general public. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we can move forward with a motion or some other action. Does Commissioner Corona, Commissioner Huboy, how do you want to proceed?
It's just that I'm looking at the site plan. Did this went through a DRC I mean,
That's
you?
correct. Yes, it has.
Okay, because some of the issues with these large signs is visibility at the ingress and egress of the site. So I'm looking at the site plan, and I'm sure that was vetted on any safety issues from oncoming traffic that would possibly block those sight lines
Yes.
at those
Yes, that
entry
is
and exit
correct.
points.
Our engineering department took a review of it for the purposes of which you were just speaking about. And then we also have our fire and our police department as well that also take into consideration.
Okay. So that does alleviate any of my concerns. And I would, unless there's further discussion on this item, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt PC Resolution 2022-9. Am I correct? Is that
-5,
-5?
right? Resolution 2022-5, and then the site and architectural review number is 2021-9.
And approve site and architectural review 2021-9 with the draft findings in the resolution.
I will second that. So let's do a roll call vote.
Thank you. So for site and architectural review 2021-9 master sign program for approval of resolution 2022-5, we have a motion and a second. And we'll do a roll call at this time. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens,
Yes.
and I will note that Commissioner Kevin Henderson has recused himself. As he mentioned earlier on, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, good. Congratulations to the applicant. So let's move on to the next item, item number 3, conditional use permit 2021-12, Elva Ayala, DBA Body Aid. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to operate a health and fitness club in a more or less 4,200 square foot bay of a more or less 16,798 square foot warehouse building located at 875 Industrial Drive, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 056-270-018 in the M1 Light Industrial Zoning District, CEQA categorically exempt. So let's hear the staff report.
Madam Chair.
Chair Stevens, can I recommend that we just wait a moment until the other commissioner is able to read? Oh, and I see he's on video now, so apparently he has rejoined us. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Thank
you, City Attorney Epperson. Yes, I had just called them a little while ago too.
sorry about that. Thank you. So do you want me to read that again, or shall we just move on with the item, the staff report?
We can proceed with reading. I'll be presenting this report.
Okay,
Thank you. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional permit 2021-12 to allow for the use of a health and fitness studio Body Aid in a 4,200 square foot bay of an existing 6,798 square foot multi-tenant industrial building located at 857 Industrial Drive in the light industrial zoning district. The owner of Body Aid has previously received Planning Commission approval for conditional use permit 2019-9 in November of 2019 to allow for the use of a health and fitness studio in a 1,740 square foot existing suite in a 18,000 square foot multi-tenant industrial building located at 817 Industrial Drive. The applicant has indicated in their application submittal packet that they are seeking to relocate their small business into a larger facility so that it may continue to grow. Body Aid was officially established in 2016 with the intent to provide a safe, encouraging, and non-judgmental space for individuals of all body types and fitness levels to come in and receive challenging workouts unique to them. The studio offers group classes throughout the day, that are led by trainers who provide instruction, observe members for proper techniques, and for safety. Morning classes typically begin at 5 a.m. and end at 10 a.m., and evening classes typically begin at 5 p.m. and end at 7 p.m. The anticipated number of members for each class or session is approximately 15 people. The applicant intends to lease a Bay A at 857 Industrial Drive, which again is roughly around 4,200 square feet. And it's a part of a multi-industrial building. Building A is located at the western end of the building, east of Industrial Drive, and contains 2 bathrooms, 2 offices, and an open warehouse space, as you can see on the screen. And just before we move on with the staff report, just so everyone has kind of an idea of the overall layout of the site, this provides an image of the multi-tenant building as well as the parking. On December 2nd, 2021, staff presented this item to the Development Review Committee, the DRC, which consists of city staff representing various departments and divisions, including planning, engineering, the building department, utilities, police, and fire, as well as other local responsible agencies who provide their respective disciplines and input. The DRC has expressed the following concerns regarding this project. The first being that 857 Industrial Drive is a multi-tenant industrial building that has 5 bays located in the light industrial zoning district. Currently, 4 out of the 5 bays are occupied by industrial uses that are permitted by right. Staff has expressed concern about the proximity of commercial uses to industrial uses, especially when they're located within the same building. The purpose of the light industrial zoning district, where the applicant would like to relocate their business, is to provide for low intensity research and development, warehousing, and manufacturing activities, including production, processing, assembly, packaging, or treatment of products from previously processed materials or finished products from previously prepared materials. Outdoor activities are limited to accessory storage and loading areas. In addition, heavy industrial uses may be allowed in the M1 light industrial zoning district with a conditional use permit. The use of a health and fitness club is permitted by right in the commercial office zone, the general commercial area, the North Gateway zoning district, the downtown mixed use zoning district, as well as the neighborhood mixed use and West Gateway districts. However, per table 17.101 industrial zone districts, land use and permits requirements of the Hollister Municipal Code, section 17.10.020, industrial manufacturing land uses and permits required, a health and fitness club may be allowed within the light industrial and industrial business park zoning districts if a conditional use permit is approved through the Planning Commission. The intent of requiring a conditional use permit is to allow for activities and uses that are unique and whose effects on the surrounding environment cannot be determined prior to being proposed at a particular location. At the time an application is submitted, a review of the location, design, configuration, and potential impacts proposed by the use are compared to the established development standards. The second concern that the DRC had expressed was in regards to inadequate parking on the site. Per section 17.18.060, number of parking spaces required, a health and fitness club shall provide 1 space for every 2,050 square feet of gross floor area and shall provide bicycle parking in the amount of 10% of vehicle spaces. The square footage of Bay A is approximately 4,200 square feet, which equates to 17 parking spaces and 2 bicycle parking spaces. The building owner has provided an overall site plan that indicates the various square footages and current uses of each of the bays. Currently, the existing multi-tenant building square footage is 16,798 square feet and has a total of 30 parking spaces, with 2 spaces that are dedicated to ADA accessible parking and an aisle. However, the parking analysis that was attached in your packet indicates that a total of 64 parking spaces and 3 bicycle parking spaces would be required for this site, including the 17 spaces required for the proposed use. The site is currently underparked for the existing uses, which require a minimum of 47 spaces. Furthermore, the provided site plan indicates that there's no available parking for bicycles on site. However, the building owner, on the behalf of the applicant, has submitted a part of the application submittal, a purchase order for a single grid bike rack, which will be able to accommodate 4 bicycles, which meets and exceeds the bicycle parking requirement for this site. The third concern that was expressed by the DRC is that there is no trash enclosure on site. There's no trash enclosure on site for the existing or proposed use. Staff recognizes that this is difficult to condition a tenant's use permit on a condition that would be needed to be fulfilled by the property owner or the manager, such as requiring the installation of a trash enclosure on the site. This may also further impact the parking and circulation that is on the site currently. The Planning Commission is responsible for analyzing the application's consistency with the purpose and intent of the municipal code, and the Planning Commission may approve a conditional use permit application with or without conditions if all the following findings are made. 1, the proposed use is conditionally allowed with the subject zoning district and complies with all the applicable provisions of the zoning code. 2, the proposed use is consistent with the general plan. 3, the approval of the conditional use permit for the proposed use is compatible with the existing and future land uses within the vicinity. 4, the location, size, and design and operating characteristics of the proposed use are compatible with the existing and future land uses in the vicinity. And 5, the proposed use would not impact the architectural integrity and character of the zoning district in which it's located. The Planning Commission has the authority to determine whether an exception should be made to the concerns of the DRC, particularly in regards to the parking compliance in approving the conditional use permit. Note that because there are multiple tenant spaces in this particular building, staff has included a condition within the resolution to have all future tenant uses be subject to planning approval, administrative or discretionary as applicable. This will allow industrial uses which will neighbor the commercial use, if approved, to be reviewed in consideration of the conditional use occupying the building. So this next half, I have 2 slides that I just wanted to go over before concluding this presentation. On January 25th, 2022, staff received communications from the property owner's representative that they had concerns regarding 4 of the listed conditions. As you'll see, it's condition 11, 12, 18, and 23. I'll go through each of the conditions and I will let you know what the concerns are and then how staff has responded to some of them. So condition 11 is prior to the lease of any building on the subject property, the property owner or their agent shall apply and receive approval for an administrative permit from the City of Hollister Development Services Department, particularly from the Planning Division and the Engineering Department, to evaluate the adequacy of off-site parking to ensure that there is sufficient off-site parking for the building and its combined uses. The concern that was raised about this is that any future uses for the building that are classified light industrial could possibly be denied with an administrative permit if there was not enough parking. The concern is that this could effectively render the uses of the other bays within the building useless. The number of parking spots has remained consistent with this building since its construction, which again is 30 parking spaces. And at this time, there's no way to add additional parking on site. The planning department's response to this concern is that this condition has been added so that the planning and engineering department may evaluate the adequacy of offsite parking to ensure that there is sufficient offsite parking for the building and its combined uses. Per Hollister Municipal Code 17.18060, number of parking spaces required for each land use is required to provide the minimum number of off-street parking spaces required, except where a greater number of parking spaces is required through a land use permit approval. Per Hollister Municipal Code 17.18.060A, expansion of a structure or change in use. When a structure is enlarged or increased in capacity, intensity, or when a change in use is required by the title to provide more off-street parking, additional pedestrian facilities, and parking for automobiles and bicycles shall be provided in compliance with the provisions of this section. For building additions or changes in occupancy capacity of a use of 20% or less, a reduction in the number of parking spaces for automobiles and bicycle spaces may be allowed if the administrative review by the engineering department determines that there is sufficient capacity on site. In addition, the planning division will also administratively review the proposed project to review the site, which has multiple tenants and uses, to make sure that it's providing the appropriate amount of parking spaces required per this section for each separate use. When reviewing the site plan, we'll be looking for the overall parking. Staff is able to take into consideration a reduction of off-street parking requirements if the applicant is able to provide evidence that there is shared parking, meaning that the owner has to provide and demonstrate evidence to the satisfaction of the development services director that a reduction is necessary to efficiently operate the subject use and will not result in any parking deficiencies through the submittal of a parking study. If such a demonstration can be made, it will be granted. If not, the owner or the applicant would need to apply for a conditional use permit to request a variance in parking. Moving on to condition 12. Condition 12 states that prior to the lease of a bay or the subject property, the property owner or the agent shall apply for and receive approval of an administrative permit from the City of Hollister's Development Services, the Planning Division, to review any adjacent uses to Bay A while this conditional use permit is valid. The concern that was raised for this particular condition was the amount of time that it takes for individuals to receive an administrative permit review. Typically, for the planning department, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to take a admin permit through all the processes and review. And then from there was discussion on how to proceed with an administrative permit review. And that's essentially the same process that the applicants do for coming to the Planning Commission, except that staff is able to provide an action notice and that item does not have to come to a public hearing. Condition 18 is for a waste receptacle. This is our standard trash enclosure condition. The trash enclosure shall be installed, which includes hose bibs, is covered and plumbed to the city's sewer service lines, and is constructed of the appropriate materials such as stucco or cinder block concrete, or with stucco being preferred, that is architecturally compatible with the surrounding area. And then it just provides information to contact Recology in terms of capacity and other requirements. So for this particular condition, as stated, we understand that it's difficult to condition a project when it's coming through for a conditional use permit. However, we did want to bring it to the Planning Commission's attention that there currently is not an existing trash enclosure on site. However, I do believe that the property owner representative is available and that they are able to further discuss with the Planning Commission how trash is being picked up at this time. But we just wanted to present this condition. It's at the discretion of the Planning Commission. And then condition 23 is prior to final occupancy, an operating fire alarm system shall be installed. The alarm system shall be inspected and approved by the fire department if applicable. Again, this was added as if applicable, but it was brought up as a concern as it is very expensive to install an alarm system. And speaking with Chief Bedoya, he has cited that this condition may be removed as the incoming use is not considered, or is considered, sorry, a low hazard, that it's not intensifying any of the existing industrial uses, and that there's less than 15% of improvements that are being made. So at this time, staff would recommend that condition 23 be removed. And with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and you can either make one of the following options. You can choose to adopt conditional use 2021-12, or you may deny it. At this time, if there's any questions for staff, please feel free. I believe that the representative of the property owner is available online. And then we also have the project applicant within the audience in person if you have any questions for either of them.
Okay, thank you, Amber. So any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners?
I do have a question,
Go ahead.
Madam Chair. You mentioned in the staff report that there is two accessible parking stalls with an access aisle.
So there's one parking stall for ADA, and then there's an accessible aisle.
Right. So with the accessible aisle, then technically there would be 29 stalls instead of 30, because the access aisle would take, it's not indicated on the site plan. We don't see an access aisle. So, I mean, if this is I just want to be clear that that when you have a accessible parking stall, you have conjunction with it an access aisle. I don't see an access aisle indicated on the site plan. So I think it's probably 29 stalls, but I mean, this.
The property representative does have their hand up. They may be able to further clarify.
Okay, when we open the public hearing, then we can talk to the applicant regarding that.
Okay, do you have any other questions, Commissioner Hoopoy?
No.
Commissioner Henderson or Corona, any questions or comments?
The one question I had would be for staff is, at the current time, how is the trash actually being picked up and being maintained without an enclosure at this point?
I would also defer that to the property representative.
Okay, so we can have them discuss that as well during public comment section. Commissioner Henderson, any questions or comments?
Yes, I'm a little confused about, well, I guess the first question is, these special conditions that were brought up, if maybe you can go back a couple slides when you had 11 and 12. Yes, so these types of conditions are, what about the other bays that are there now? Are they under the same type of conditions?
They are currently not. The property owner has indicated that the existing uses are all light industrial uses. So they were permitted by right and therefore did not have to undergo the same process for getting a CUP.
Okay. And so this applicant already has a bay, a smaller bay in the same building, is that correct?
No, they are currently located at a different location. They're at 817 Industrial Drive, which is about 2 buildings away. But the point in staff bringing that forward was just so that the Planning Commission is aware that they have previously approved a very similar project with these same conditions that you see before you.
Okay. And so I'm just trying to understand. So if we don't remove these conditions, then basically the property owner is basically saying that the applicant won't rent the space to the applicant. Am I correct? Or
Yes, that is correct. And just for the record, there was a correspondence received from the property owner representative. That correspondence has been made available to the public and has also been placed on the dais as well.
so it's a little confusing because this is so is this conditional use permit for the applicant, or is it also for the property owner?
Commissioner Henderson, that's kind of the tricky part of this, is that it is a conditional use permit for the applicant. However, the site is inadequate per the code, in particular for parking. So essentially, these conditions are in that you, as the commission, if you approve this conditional use permit tonight, are saying we accept this use and the building as it is at the intensity levels that this business would add to the building. And we accept the parking that's available on site to allow this use. And the reason that we have as staff put these administrative permit requirement reviews on even a light industrial use in the future that technically would be permitted by right if this CUP wasn't on the property, is to make sure that we can make sure that any future use is still in compliance with this conditional use permit and the conditions that you're approving tonight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But it's difficult. It is a difficult one. We understand that.
Yeah, I guess if the owner is going to make public comment and just explain it's a little bit. I mean, I read the letter, but it's just I'm trying to understand the dilemma a little better and understand why the property owner would not rent because of this condition. So thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioner Henderson?
No.
Okay, so I have a, well, I guess it kind of follows along the same lines as some of the other commissioners' concerns. And I think I just will wait to hear from the applicant during public comment. But I am concerned about the parking, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. And I understand that the plan is to move from one site to another, so just down the street. And so my question is, do you anticipate increased number of clients coming? And then if so, then how will you address the issue of parking? Because that street is it's very difficult parking. I'm at that street a lot. So I just would like to hear a little bit more about how to resolve that issue. I think that is a major concern. I think the other ones probably have some solution, but I'm not seeing what the possible solution is for condition number 11. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. I know this type of business has staggered clientele coming in at different times. And so parking, there may be a plan for how to address that. So I'd like to hear that. And then also, if you can just comment about the change in the size of clientele. Do you anticipate a large increase, or do you expect it to stay the same? So if you can also answer that question. Okay, so I'm going to check in just really quick with the rest of the commissioners. Any other questions or comments for staff? If not, I will move to public comment.
It is 7.
Okay, so not hearing any, so we will move to public comment at 7:13.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. I do have the applicant, Elba Ayala, in the audience. Go ahead, Elba.
Hi, so I'm Elva Ayala, the owner of Body Aid, and the question about parking. So my busiest class is at 5:15 a.m. During that time, none of the other businesses in that particular bay are working. We've taken pictures at 5:15 a.m. at 6:15 a.m. There is adequate parking down where I'm hoping to move. After that, I have another class at 6:15 a.m. That class is smaller, but again, we're done by 7 a.m., which is before any of the other businesses go through. Throughout the day, I have small group classes, one at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's usually 4 people. That's 4 parking spaces. And we're closed until the evening after 5 p.m. So I don't know if that addresses the question about the parking. I do hope that I gain more clientele, but it's going to be the early morning class.
Have you had conversation with the other tenants in the building regarding the parking?
I haven't spoken to them myself directly, but currently, right now, where I'm at, we have limited parking spaces there as well. I think I have 4, but my members, I've asked them all since we've been there to stay parking on the street so that we wouldn't have any issues with other tenants in our particular bay. My members are great. They're awesome, and everybody parks on the street. If I asked them to do share carpool, they would do that as well too.
My question regarding the accessible stall is, I'm looking at the site plan, looks pretty diagrammatical.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like it doesn't not address the access aisle. Can you describe where that might be?
I believe that's right. It's the first 2 spaces, I believe. Yes. Yes.
So if there is an access aisle, then technically you have 29.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have
Okay.
to count them myself, but I'm not super familiar. I mean, I know the parking layout, and I know that it's in the papers, but I couldn't tell you honestly
Mhm.
how many were actually there.
How many employees do you have within your facility, within
I
your
have
use?
I have 2 subs.
2?
2.
Okay.
We're not there at the same time though.
Uh-huh. And in terms of what you see with this use with a larger space, can you estimate the number of clients that you're going to be?
So I'm instructing by myself, so I wouldn't be able to take more than, say, in the 15 to 20.
15 to 20?
Yes, per class.
Uh-huh. I
And
see.
again, that would be only the early morning classes where I see that happening. Right now, the other classes are very small. I mean, I would love for them to be larger, but they're not.
So let me check in with staff really quick. We have some other concerns raised. I mean, I think still some concerns about parking that were not addressed, as well as the enclosure, the trash enclosure raised by Commissioner Corona, as well as the questions around the letter and the confusion around the tenant versus the owner that Commissioner Henderson raised. So, Ms. Ayala, are you able to address that? We have James Colby also commenting on is he the person maybe that should be addressing those questions?
Yeah, I'm not currently there, so I'm not sure what they're doing with the trash. So yes, he would be the person you'd want to speak with.
Okay, so I think we'll move on then to any other comments from others in the public on site, and if not, then we can move to the Zoom public comments.
Okay, great. So I do have one other person in the audience, and that's going to be Jason Noble.
Okay, thank you.
Apologize in advance. I cut it down as much as I could, but it's 15 seconds over, so I'll read quickly. Good evening, commissioners. Miss Ayala began her business several years ago in a much smaller location, often sharing space. In 2019, she was confident enough to take on the larger space at 817 Industrial. I told her, get a cup. She didn't know what that was or meant, but she trusted me and started the process. She got it. She's been operating there for approximately 3 years. As time went on, despite challenges of COVID, has stayed open for business and grown her clientele, enough to seek a larger location at 857 Industrial Drive, the former Bouncy Fun House across from USA Sports Facility. The landlord interviewed her and had enough faith in her business plan to agree to rent to her. Again, I told her, get a cup. Staff did their job and came back with their report and recommended conditions of approval. These were forwarded to the manager for ownership review. Ownership, while pensive about some of these, is willing to agree with all but 2 of the conditions listed, 11 and 12. And thank you for voluntarily removing number 23. The owners believe they understand the city's concerns, but these conditions are an overreach of city authority with real property rights. Besides applicants meeting landlord criteria for qualifications, a tenant would be required to operate either as a permitted or non-permitted use in this zoning, possibly subject to conditional use permit approvals. At this point, the city would have an opportunity to take a bite of this apple, forcing the owner to agree in advance that prior to leasing any bay, because they are about to lease to a new tenant now, is unacceptable. The owners are savvy, experienced property owners. They would not lease to someone that they do not feel would be a good fit with their tenant mix. The applicant has already received a cup approval before, literally 3 buildings away, is aware that she is the odd woman out here and is accepting the permitted uses allowed in industrial zoning, not the other way around. The parking analysis does not take into consideration that body aids, classes, and hours of operation are symbiotic to those of the current tenants, 5:15 a.m., 6:15 a.m., 5:15 p.m., and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7:45. Most of the other businesses on site and on the street do not work during these hours. Therefore, the parking calculations are not indicative of an accurate picture. I was asked to prepare an unscientific calculation of street parking 100 yards in each direction. There are approximately 27 spaces available. To the south are 2 storage facilities, which some of you will recall from the Crocker's Lockers recent approval. People park once on site to sign up and then go in to and from their storage lockers. So there's approximately 14 more spaces in front of the storage businesses. Currently, as Elba mentioned, members park on the street and walk into 1817 Industrial Drive out of respect to neighboring businesses in case they come to work early, since members leave 45 minutes after arriving. For these reasons, the applicant and the owner are requesting the city waive these 2 conditions of approval, or the owner has stated he intends to request the city deny approval of the applicant's cup. Colby James, the ownership representative, is on Zoom with us this evening if there's any questions for him. I do also wish to mention Ms. Ayala is a single mom, small business owner, trying to work through what most people would give up when they saw the city fee charged. It should be commended that she's one of the few to come through the front door and I'll ask for forgiveness after she moves in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other in-person requests for comment?
I have none. So moving to the Zoom, we have Colby James. And Mr. James, I'll go ahead and give you permission to unmute, and you should be able to mute and unmute freely.
Can everyone hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. I just want to first add a little bit to comment on the parking situation in the area. I understand if you drive down the street now during the middle of the day, it is impacted public parking on the street. And I think everyone is aware that due to COVID, perfectly understandable, there is overflow from a fitness club across the street. All their equipment is in their parking lot. That is exacerbating the situation beyond what we normally see. Indeed, I've gotten reports from all of my current tenants that they've seen people park in our parking lot, which has available spots, and then walk across the street to the gym. So that's just something to consider. As far as how the trash is picked up, we do not provide trash service as part of tenancy. That is the responsibility of the tenants. Two of them have, they just have the plastic bins that they roll in and out of their own units. They don't generate a lot of waste. There is an HVAC contractor at the other end of the building, and he does have some dumpsters that he stores at the edge of the property. True, there is no enclosure. The requirements of building a cinder block or a stucco enclosure that's connected to the city sewer line is if we need a trash enclosure, I understand. I would like to possibly discuss with the city if we can maybe remove the hose bib connection requirement, because that would be a significant financial investment. The access stall, the handicap stall for parking is that just I put this site plan together. I've really been trying to help out Elva. To Jason's point, she's trying to do things the right way. I've never been through this process either. We've never had to seek a conditional use permit in the past. This is a first for me, so I'm trying to do things the right way as well. So I put the site plan together, and the aisle or the aisle for the handicap space on at space 1 is actually just to the left, so that box that designates the landscape area is not drawn correctly. With respect to conditions 11 and 12, the administrative permit requirements, the reason the owners are balking at that is it's the forfeiture of agency and rights to lease to light industrial tenants. That was our that was my goal when I set out to lease this space. Elva applied. Myself and the owners really believe in what she's trying to do. So I decided to take a chance. Had we known that those conditions 11 and 12 would be in a conditional use permit, if I would have been given that information from the city, had Miss Ayala known that and told me that up front, we probably would not have pursued tenancy of body aid in Bay A. So that's really what is going on there. I'm not trying to get anyone into the building that shouldn't be there. I'm trying to do things the right way. I have a suspicion that what happens in other buildings is they will get a tenant with a conditional use permit with these administrative permit conditions outlined as part of that conditional use permit, and then the building owners will just ignore that. I'm not willing to do that. The owners are not willing to do that. We want to stay above board with the city. So that I hope that explains a little bit more our reluctance with regards to conditions 11 and 12. And to Jason's point, I do not have authorization from the owners to approve tenancy of body aid if we can't get items 11 and 12 removed. It just, the 6 to 8 week waiting period is onerous on us. I would go through the process of vetting, interviewing a tenant, doing financial checks, negotiating a lease. Part of the condition of the lease would be, okay, you need to go get your administrative permit. I will help you with that process. During that time, we just, as business practice, we won't charge rent for that. If they're not generating income, we don't charge rent. We did the same thing for Miss Ayala. I've kicked the start date of rent commencement for her by 2 months. per the original lease agreement. So we really are trying to make this work. But 6 to 8 weeks to wait with no income on available units. And then at the end, we could be told by the city that no, in fact, that applicant cannot occupy that space, even though they would be classified as a light industrial zoned business. So that's our hesitancy there. I think that addressed all the questions that I heard.
Okay, thank you, Mr. James.
Sure.
I think we have another hand up from the public.
Yes, we have Heather Casada. I'm going to go ahead and allow you permission to mute and unmute yourself. Go ahead, Heather.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Awesome. Hey, my name is Heather Quesada. I just wanted to put a little shout out to my girl Elva. I've been a part of her gym for over 2 years. I just want to say, not that it can change anything at this point, you know, but I just want to say that she has been amazing with our community. She's helped so many people. This is a tough situation with what's going on. I just want to know, just to tell you guys that, I mean, we would drive miles to go to them. We've been there for over 2 years. I'll park down the street from Hill Park. In there, Ravella's packed. I mean, they have their gym equipment in their stuff, so they got to do what they got to do to make money. I just want to know that a lot of people, she's helped me, and I just hope you guys can really like come together and find a gym for her.
Miss Quesada, we're having a lot of trouble hearing you. There's an issue with your audio. I'm wondering if you could figure out what the issue is, because we weren't really able to understand most of what you were saying. I know that you're trying to show your support. Now we can.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, my earbuds are jacking up on me.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right, so I just wanted to say, I don't know what you guys caught out of that, but I've been going to Elva's gym for about 2 years. This woman is amazing. She saved a lot of people, including me. If you guys can figure out a way for her to keep her business going, because, you know, we're all about small business. I have a business here. I feel like we all need to keep going. And I hope that the whole regulations and everything that are in place, you're putting in place for everybody around her, because I don't think it's fair to single somebody out as far as now. I just want to say, you know, I hope that, like I said, I'd go anywhere to go to her gym. I park my car really far away to get there now. There's not a whole lot of parking where she was before. So even now, I don't even care. I'd hike in if I have to. But thank you guys for listening to me. And I hope that you really consider like helping her out, because she's a good person. She's doing the right thing by coming to you, because a lot of people won't. They just go behind your back. So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather Casada. I appreciate the comment. Do we have another person that wants to comment?
We do, Chairperson Stevens. I'm gonna go. I saw Chief Charlie Bedoya's hand raised before the other person in the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Charlie, and then we'll go to Candace Ledesma in the chat after that. So Charlie, you should be able to freely mute yourself.
Okay, hi, this is Charlie with the fire department. How's everyone doing? Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is a little tricky one. I just want to add this food for thought on there. So the occupancy that's in there right now, for the fire department requirements, we will allow it. But if anyone else were to go into that occupancy, that would make it a change of occupancy. And for the allowable use that it's allowed to have, it's gonna spark the sprinkler requirement and the alarm requirement for the entire building. So I just wanted to get that up front just to let you guys know about that part right there. I mean, this is a low hazard and it's not a change of occupancy because the bounce house is already there. But once we change that occupancy, and if we're going to bring in a auto painting or auto body shop, that's going to spark it to be able to, we're going to have to make them put in sprinklers and a full alarm system into that whole building before anyone else can go in there now. So I just wanted to let the planning commission know about that. I mean, I'm not opposed to this place. It's a lower hazard place. It's what I'd like to see there, only because that whole building is not sprinklered at all. And this occupancy doesn't spark that, and it's not alarmed, and it's just an aluminum warehouse building when it gets onto there. I went and I walked the facility and evaluated it, and that's probably the safest occupancy that we could allow in that facility. So I just wanted to let you guys know on that part right there.
I have a question for Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Charlie, do you feel that without, I don't have a floor plan, do you think the exiting is adequate for the occupant load?
It is. And this is more of a smaller gym type.
Okay. Yeah.
From what I've seen, and they operate with the rolling doors open, and they do have two exits. They have one at the front door where there's parking, then they have the side door. I did go through there and I did let them know that they definitely have to mark all the doors with which suite unit they're doing. We've gone through there and done some inspections, so they'll have to just mark up their two doors and their big warehouse doors, because if we do have an incident there, we want to make sure we're going into the right unit for our safety and the safety of everyone else. So they have adequate, actually, they put up bug eyes and exit lighting, emergency lighting for the facility when that wasn't a requirement. So they did do that part right there. So it'll be well lit up for them also.
That's good. Thank you, Charlie.
You got it.
Just, I just want to clarify something. This is a question I have for staff.
Commissioner Hooper, can we just check that there's no more public comment and then before your comment? Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. I think we had one other person that wanted to speak. Is that right?
Yes, I still have two hands in the virtual audience. So we'll go now to Candice Ledesma. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to mute and oops, that's the right thing. Oh, okay. All right, Candice Ledesma, you should be able to mute and unmute yourself now.
Hi, good evening. My name is Candice Ledesma, and I just want to put on the record that Alva has been providing a service to the community for many, many years. I'm a teacher, and through the pandemic, she was providing services via Zoom. She was true dedicated to her members. And I just want to put on the record that with everything going on right now, it's not just so much more of like a gym. It's so much, this is essential for our mental health as educators, as people in the community. And I just really want you folks to consider that I'm born and raised here in Hollister, so I've seen a lot of people come and go. Alva's rooted. She's not going anywhere. This is her forever home. And I really just want that to be taken into consideration, that she does provide a service and she's efficient. She's good at what she does. If only you could see how she runs things, you know, we park on the street. We don't take up the parking spaces inside. 515 group, we follow the rules. We always just want to set the tone that we want to follow the guidelines that have been enforced, and it's something that we want to continue doing with her. So I just really would love for all of you to really take that into consideration, that she's not just someone that's just here temporarily. She's someone that's vested in this community, and I would really love for you all to keep that in mind when you're making your decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ledesma. Well, yeah, so can we get the other comment, and just a reminder to make sure that the timer's on?
Yes, I apologize. I forgot to start the timer. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're gonna go to Maya Valdez. I'm gonna go ahead and give you permission to mute and unmute yourself. Okay, you should be able to mute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name is Maya Valdez. I am one of the instructors that works with Elva Ayala. I just want to feed off of what Candace has said. Since the beginning of the pandemic, she has been just like a safe room for us to go and, you know, work out for our mental health. Some of us are new moms. Some of us have barely gone back to work since the pandemic started. So, you know, just stress all over the place, and being able to be in that environment with her. She's checking in on us. She's texting us. She's calling us. She's helping us out as much as she can. And it would just be amazing if you guys could just help her out for as much as she's helped us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
I have no other hands raised in the virtual audience. I will just note, and I believe that they were all answered, but there was some chats from Colby James about the spaces, which we answered, and the reasoning for their letter. So I'll just note that there was a few things in the chat. Otherwise, I have no more speakers and no more hands, Chairperson.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public comments section at 7:39 and ask my fellow commissioners if they have any other comments or concerns that they want to discuss before we move forward on this item.
Madam Chair, I do have.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So on this 11 and 12, I mean, if we grant the conditional use permit, we're going to grant the concession of parking, for example. That's part of the permit. And 11 and 12, if that stays on the book, it's like a redundancy of approval process here. I mean, then it would, unless we eliminate 11 and 12, they would still have to go through an administrative approval process, and the parking again would be scrutinized. Am I correct?
That, excuse me, that is correct. I will say for condition 12, if it, in this case, what we're looking at in particular, just so that it's clear, it's while parking is an issue, it would be to really make sure that the two uses are compatible side by side. We have had issues in the past where there's other multi-tenant buildings where there's been a heavy industrial use, and then we have a lighter commercial use that comes in side by side. So that's really what we're looking to basically filter out and eliminate that from those two types of uses clashing together.
So then the administrative approval process would look at the compatibility issues.
That's correct.
Because this is the parking is on our plate tonight. This is part of our purview. We're looking at the parking, whether or not
that is
we can
correct.
grant the concession.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, any other questions or comments, Commissioner Hoopoy?
Yeah, I will say that as far as the use is concerned, I think I don't have any issue with the use in the industrial area. I know there are other, am I correct? There are other recreational or exercise uses in that.
Yes, that is
general area.
correct.
And it seems to. So as far as the compatibility of the use, I'm fine with that. I'm still on the kind of on the fence on the parking. The trash enclosure, I'm open to discussion on that from the fellow commissioners, how they view the condition number 18 and the parking. But we've heard testimony from the applicant, the hours of operation, and it seems to me that with those hours of operation stated, that certainly helps with the parking issue. I think that what is proposed here with the conducting these classes are very, very important. I think that she provides a valuable service for the community, and we've heard from members of the audience stating that. And I think that I certainly would like to work with the applicant, but I'm open to further discussion regarding the parking and the trash issue. So those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hoopoy. Commissioner Henderson, you just unmuted. Do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, sure. I have some comments based on notes I've jotted down. So I noticed that this issue of conditions that are put on these cups. There's been a few times where the applicant, either wasn't aware of them or they were surprised by them. And I would just encourage staff to I don't know, try to in the future make it the conditions more visible. I don't know where the breakdown is happening, why we've had applicants that don't see the permits or don't see the conditions and get surprised by them. But I think it would be good to try to do that, because I know this is a difficult process to follow for tenants and property owners. So just try to make things easier on the public. As far as condition 12, I don't see it being necessary, just based on the showing of the applicant. The applicant seems very responsible, and I believe the applicant would make sure that any future tenants would be compatible with any neighboring bays. Also, this is a similar use to what was there before with the Happy Jumpy. I mean, it's a physical exercise. So, and it's consistent with the other a lot of the other uses on that street, the gyms and other exercise places. Also, for the trash, I don't see this tenant producing a lot of trash. So I would be open to removing condition 23, or was it 18, the one about the trash? Yeah, 18, the one about the trash. It's good that the applicant is following the right process and doing everything up front. So I think it's commendable. So I think that would conclude my comments on this.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner Corona, any questions or comments?
Yes, I would just like to add that, this, from what I'm gathering, this facility is promoting exactly what the public's going to need, especially during COVID restrictions, where exercise is extremely vital to the public staying healthy. Given the previous tenant, the amount of customers that were there during the Jumpy Bouncy, the time that they were open, I'm thinking that parking really shouldn't be too much of an issue, given the time of use in which the applicant's wishing to use the facility. I wouldn't be opposed to going into some further discussion and possibly even removing 11 if need be.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to I'd like to make a few comments. In general, I agree with the comments of my fellow commissioners. I go down that street a lot because I take kids there for, the gymnastics classes, for karate classes, and there's a lot going on in that street at certain times. But it sounds like this particular tenant is not there during, or is not using the site during those peak times. So I think that's a plus, although I know that schedules can change, obviously, but it sounds like this particular tenant has an established community and they have some practices already in place with the schedule. So it doesn't look like that will change too much. And hopefully at some point, when Ravella's is able to move back in, move their gym back inside, then that will help with some of the parking. So I think that the parking issue is not a big deal. I think we can, I would be okay with eliminating number 11. I think it will be okay. The other conditions I agree to. I don't think that the trash is an issue. I don't think this business is going to generate too much trash. So I think that's not an issue. So I'm okay with not imposing that condition. Number 23, having heard from Charlie Bedoya, I think that it should be okay with this tenant. Obviously, if it was a different tenant, then there would be other concerns. But if the fire department's saying it's okay, then I'm gonna agree with them. They're the experts in this area. So those are my only comments. I do want to support this kind of business. I love that it's, first of all, that it's owned by a woman, so that's really nice. And I think that she's established in this community and deserves our support. So I would love to be able to do that. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. Any other questions or comments from my fellow commissioners?
What is your, Madam Chair, what about condition number 12?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that Commissioner Henderson, I agree with his comments about it not really seeming to be necessary. I think that only those tenants that are compatible are going to be allowed to go in there anyway. So I'm okay with eliminating that condition. I'm also okay with if entertaining other ideas that the rest of the commissioners have for that condition.
Well, I think that we talked about it seems to be redundant, 11 and 12. I think we discussed compatibility issue and parking. I would be in favor of striking both 11 and 12 plus 18 and 23.
Okay. Okay, so the other commissioners, do either one of you want to make another comment about this one, about any of the conditions or about anything? Commissioner Corona, Commissioner Henderson.
I would support removing the conditions 11, 12, 18, and 23.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Okay, so I'm gonna just open it up to the commissioners. Is anybody interested in making a motion? Do we need further discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
PC resolution number
2022-6.
2022-6. My motion is to adopt PC resolution 2022-6 and approve site and architectural review 2019-16 with removing conditions 11, 12, 18, and 23.
Commissioner Huboy,
Yeah.
just as a point of clarification, it's actually conditional use permit 2021-12 instead of site and architectural review 2019-16.
Oh.
Just for the record.
I'm on the one that I have to recuse myself.
You're doing so good.
Oh, boy.
It's so great.
I just can't wait till I get to that one. Okay, and so it's PC resolution 2022-6 to adopt PC resolution 2022-6 and approve conditional use permit 2021-12 with removing conditions 11, 12, 18, and 23. That is my motion.
Okay, does anyone want a second?
I would like to second it.
Okay, thank you. And then can we move to a roll call vote?
Certainly. For the approval of conditional use permit 2021-12, approving resolution 2022-6 with the removal of condition number 11 for requirement of an administrative permit review for parking, the removal of condition number 12 for the requirement of an administrative permit for the evaluation of the bays adjacent to Bay A, the removal of condition number 18, removing the requirement for a trash enclosure, and with the removal of condition number 23, removing the requirement for the fire alarm system. We will now begin a roll call. We have Commissioner David Huboy,
Aye.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion has passed.
Okay, thank you and congratulations to the applicant. Continued success in your new location. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask that can we take a quick break since we've been on for 2 hours almost. So can we take a quick 5-minute break and then move on to item number 4? Is everybody okay with doing that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm thinking just 5 minutes is good enough. Is that okay with the rest of the commissioners? 5 minutes?
Yes, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, we'll take 5 minutes. Okay, can one of staff let me know if we've used up the 5 minutes? I think we have, so we can get started.
Sorry, we broke at 7:55, so we have about one more
One more
minute.
minute? Okay, let's give the other commissioners 1 more minute then. We'll start right at 8. Thank you.
Okay, so it is now 8, so if everyone's back on 8, feel free.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to just move forward on to item number 7. I'm sorry. Whoa, item number 4.
Madam Chair, before you introduce item number 4,
Okay,
and pardon my Freudian slip on the item number 3, I am the applicant and my architectural firm provided architectural services for item number 4. Therefore, I will recuse myself.
okay, so we'll do the same thing that we did with Commissioner Henderson. So we will text, oh, actually, he's in chambers. So, okay, so we don't have the same issue with him. Okay, so you can just let him know when it's time for him to come back.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move forward with item number 4. Let me know when he's left the room and I can proceed.
All right, go ahead, Chairperson Stevens.
Okay, so item number 4 is site and architectural review 2019-16 extension by David Huboy. The applicant is requesting an extension for approved site and architectural 2019-16 to construct 4 3-story, 7,531 square foot apartments. 3 of the buildings will consist of 4 units, with the first floor being a gym, community room, and lounge area. The project is located on a approximately 49,774 square foot lot at the northwest corner of Glad Lane and Hillock Drive within the neighbor mixed use zone district, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 057-230-013. CEQA mitigated a negative declaration previously prepared. So can we get the staff report on this?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Stevens. Item 4, as mentioned, let me get to the right screen here, is for an extension to site and architectural review 2019-16, which received approval by the Planning Commission on November 21st of 2019 per resolution 2019-57. The site and architectural review approved the construction of 3 3-story apartment buildings on a 1.143 acre lot located on the northwest corner of Lad Lane and Hillock Drive. The 2 northern buildings would have 11 units each, and the 3rd building would have 6 units for a total of 28 units. And I will apologize, we have noticed today some weird things in our agenda, so I believe the description wasn't quite clear, but 28 total units for the project. Due to the effect of COVID-19 on the development, the applicant has not been able to move forward with the construction of the project. However, they would like to move forward with the project during the next year if this extension is granted. This item was brought before the Planning Commission back in October of 2021. However, due to a lack of a quorum on the commission to address the item, it was continued to a date where the rest of the commission could be filled and a decision could be made. So this was the first date in which we had a quorum to discuss the item. So based on our city attorney's recommendation, the applicant has been in a little bit of a limbo, but technically still active since its expiration in November until today for your decision. And I will just note that the date of the extension is for a year from the date of expiration. So it is a little bit less than a year from today, but it is a year total from the date of expiration. Per section 1724-130, the planning commission may grant a 1-year extension for site and architectural review applications. So I do have some slides just of the project, which I can go through relatively quickly because it is an approved project. But this is a site plan. You'll see Lad Lane on the right of your screen and Hillock Drive on the bottom of your screen. The buildings 10 and 12, these are the 3-story units that have units on the bottom on the first floor. So 10 and 12. The elevations for that. And then building 11 has units on the 2nd and 3rd floors and the community room and communal space on the 1st floor. So these are the elevations for building 11. North, the eastern elevation, this would face Lad Lane. And then here's a photo of the landscaping on the site. And just quickly, the floor plans, again, they're 11 units in 10 and 12, 3 on the 1st, 4 on the 2nd and 3rd. And then the first floor plan for building 11, this is the community spaces. And 2nd and 3rd floor each would contain an additional 3 units, so 6 units in building 11. Just some background on the project. There was a general plan amendment and rezone, which is adopted in 2008, as well as the mitigated negative declaration for the site. It was rezoned into mixed use. There are existing small lot, single family units on Slate Avenue that were part of the overall kind of project plan for this area from Lad Lane. And that was all part of this general plan amendment and rezone. And then there was a site and architectural review approved in 2013, which was for this site, which was proposed to be commercial spaces and medical offices, so the Lad Lane side. And so this proposal was approved back in 2019 to change those previously approved commercial uses into apartments to match the other 63 apartment units that kind of extend along Slate Avenue, going to the west of the project site. So this would add another 28 to those 63. And with that report, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022- Abraham, are we on 7?
That is correct.
2022-7, approving a 1-year extension to site and architectural review 2019-16, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
Okay, thank you, Eva. Commissioner Corona or Commissioner Henderson, any questions or comments for staff?
I had one quick question. I think I might have missed it. When is the actual date of expiration on the possible new extension?
So per condition number 1, this approval would expire November 21st of 2022. So 1 year from the date of expiration, which was November 21st, 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Corona?
That's it.
Okay, Commissioner Henderson, any questions or comments?
Yeah, just kind of a technical question for staff. So if something expires or is allowed to expire, it can just be brought back again. Is that right?
So if it does expire, they could reapply and they could technically reapply for the same project. We have had that happen in the past, and the commission could review it. I would say that the thing from the applicant's perspective is there may have been new things adopted in the codes or new laws and new fees that they would be potentially subject to at the date of a new application. So they typically want to do an extension so that they're under whatever they got approved original.
Okay, so this one, this one never expired, it's just being extended, is that correct?
Yes, so because they applied back before it expired in November, but as same as tonight, Chairperson or Commissioner Hugh Boy had to recuse himself as he's the applicant and providing services for the project. And back in October, we only had the 3 commissioners on the commission meeting, Commissioner Hugh Boy, Commissioner Stevens, and former Commissioner Seth Munzer. And so with a recusal, we only had 2 out of 5 commissioners that could consider the item. So we didn't have a quorum until yourself and Commissioner Corona joined the commission.
Got it. All right, no other questions, thank you.
Okay. I don't have any questions or comments. I guess I'll open the public comment at 8:09. Do we have any speaker cards or any requests for comments?
I do. I actually have Ann Hall in the audience. You'll see her in the Zoom as well, but she's here in the audience as the speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission. It's Ann Hall with San Benito Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I really don't have any additional information. I would like to answer any questions if you have them, but it is the applicant's intent to go forward with this project. However, they have a couple projects in progress, including the apartments right next to this. And over the past year and a half with COVID, it's caused some disruption to the timeline they had in mind, and it's not moving as fast as they had initially hoped. And so they would request an extension on this, but it's still their intention to go forward with the project. Other than that, I'm just here if you have questions.
Okay, thank you, Ann. Okay, any other comments from the public?
I have no other speakers in the audience, and I see no hands raised in the virtual audience.
Okay, so I will close the public comment time at 8:11. Okay, so Commissioner Corona, Commissioner Henderson, how would you like to proceed?
I would make a motion, make a motion to approve. Let's see if I can get the wording right though.
I think you can just read the slide on the screen. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I got it. Yes. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-7, approving a 1-year extension to site and architectural review 2019-16, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
Okay, I will second that. So let's move to a roll call vote.
Certainly. For Site and Architectural Review 2019-16 extension per resolution 2022-7, we will begin a roll call vote, and we will begin with Commissioner Kevin Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona.
Yes.
Chairperson Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will wait for Commissioner Huboy to join us.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. So I guess we're on to now new business. Is there any new business to report?
Thank you, Chairperson Stevens. There's no new business at this time.
Okay, any old business we should be hearing about?
Thank you, Chairperson Stevens. None at this time.
And Planning Department reports.
Regarding planning department reports, we just would like to indicate that Commissioner Seth Munzer, he indicated that he was really happy with the serving at the Planning Commission, and he's gonna miss everybody very much. He did a really good job in serving our community. I was looking through the records, and I believe his first Planning Commission meeting was September 28th, 2017. So very good job that he did for our community. We want to thank him so much for his service, and we also want to welcome Commissioner Luke Corona as well. Thank you so much for volunteering and being a part of this commission for the betterment of our community here in Hollister. And we also want to welcome back Commissioner Kevin Henderson as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, if I may add, thank you, Abraham. Amber and I just wanted to announce to the commission that there is a Planning Commissioners Academy going to be held in March. And Amber, sorry, if you could pull up the dates for me. And we would encourage the Planning Commission to go to the academy. Hang on a sec, I have the dates. It's going to be March 16th through 18th at the Marriott in San Ramon. And you can look that up. It's the League of California Cities Planning Commissioners Academy Conference. And yes, we would encourage our commissioners to go. I believe that staff will be going, at least myself and Amber and Abraham hopefully as well. And so we just wanted to announce that to the commission, and registration is currently open.
I would also like to add, if I may, staff has been repeatedly checking in to see if the California League of Cities has the Planning Commissioner Handbook, which was requested by Commissioner Huboy. It's still not available at this time, but we'll keep you all appraised as it becomes available.
Okay. Okay, and for the academy, should each individual commissioner just make contact with staff about whether or not they are able to attend that academy?
Yes, and what we would do, I know in the past, staff tried to coordinate everything, but it was difficult. So there should be funding available. I did talk with the city manager already, but I can double check with him. But we would have you register on your own, and then you can request per diem and or reimbursement from the city that way. So you can coordinate your own hotel stays and your own registration.
Okay, okay, great. Okay, anything else? Any other planning department report?
No additional reports, Chairperson Stevens. Thank you.
Okay, any planning commission reports?
Sure, I would report. I'm glad to be back on the commission. Also, when I was on the commission before, there was definitely audio issues over Zoom coming from the chambers, but they definitely got fixed. So we can hear everybody clearly from the chambers now, so good job on that. And I'd like to thank Seth Munzer for his service, and Chairperson Stevens, you're doing a great job as the chair. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, ditto. Welcome back, Commissioner Henderson. We're glad you're back and look forward to continuing to work with you. And then welcome Commissioner Corona again after the special meeting. And for sure, much gratitude to former Commissioner Munzer for all of his service, and for me personally, just the support and the good camaraderie that we shared during our time together as commissioners. So best of luck with whatever else you're doing, and thanks again for your service. Any other commissioners have any reports that they'd like to make now before we adjourn?
I would just like to say, thank you very much for the opportunity to be serving the Hollister community. I'm looking very forward to it as their newest commissioner, and it should be very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say that I enjoyed being the chairperson, and I certainly appreciated Seth Munster's service to the community. Congratulations to Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Thank you.
It's good to have Kevin Henderson back. Congratulations to him for being vice chair, and welcome, Luke. I'm sure that we're going to be a good team moving forward.
Agree. Okay, so I think we're ready to adjourn. Can I get a motion from someone to adjourn? I think the time is 8:19.
I will motion for the adjournment.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, second.
Do we need to do a roll call vote?
We can certainly do it. Thank you. Motion to adjourn has been made in second, and we will start a roll call vote then. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion has been passed.
All right, thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.